Hi all, welcome to the Business Analyst Training Program. In our previous session, we have seen details pertaining to requirements. What are requirements? We did define the term requirements from a business analyst, software industry standpoint. We have also seen what are the various types of requirements. We started with requirement elicitation technique. Why should you elicit or gather requirements? There are a lot of techniques, a number of techniques of how to gather requirements for a software project. We have seen stakeholder analysis, wherein you have to analyze the stakeholder and then get the correct requirements from the stakeholder. Brainstorming, where you gather at least 7 to 10 people to get ideas from them and make benefit out of the ideas that you get from different people from different areas of specialization. One-on-one interview, it's a one-to-one discussion, or one-on-one interview is a type of requirement elicitation technique wherein you will have your set of questions defined as a business analyst and you will ask the questions to your interviewee. You are an interviewer because you are going to ask the question, and the individual could be at a top management level, middle management level, or at a junior level. They are interviewees because they are going to answer you, and you are an interviewer because you would ask them the questions pertaining to the software to be developed. Group interview. This is different from brainstorming, as I've already told you. You'll have about 2 to 4 people and a lesser or shorter duration of time and a lot of difficulty in getting people together to conduct the group interview, wherein you will have a lot of questions for 2 to 4 of the individuals that you want to be together and you expect an answer from each one of them. There is a possibility that the group interview can get converted into a debatable session. So you have to be very, very careful when you conduct group interviews. Today, let us continue with the remaining techniques of requirement elicitation. Do you have any questions up to this phase of learning? We have also seen a basic flowchart diagram. In the requirements management lifecycle topics, you'll have the brainstorming and legend diagram and mind map diagram to be learned using Visio. If there are no more questions from the previous sessions, let us continue with document analysis. What do you mean by document analysis and why document analysis should be done? In what way is a document analysis going to benefit you as a business analyst? Document analysis is an important gathering technique. Evaluating the documentation of a present system can assist when making as-is process documents. There are two terms. One is called as-is and other is called to be. As-is means existing system, existing process, existing document. So instead of using the term existing, in the software industry, the term as is and to be for a new system to be created or a proposed system is referred to as a to be, T-O-B-E, and an existing system or a process or a document is referred to as is, as is. So, what do you mean by document analysis? There should be a starting point for you to begin with. In some of the companies, they may give you a lot of documents, mainly with these HR processes. They'll have a lot of documentation work done, and they would say, this is the existing system document. You please go through it. There will be a lot of documents that they will share with you. So that's nothing but the as is system or as is process documents. Whenever you have to identify a gap in the existing system or the process, document analysis will really help you. It is not only for a new system development, a new software development. Even when you have to move older version of a software to a newer version of a software, from SQL Server 2005 to 2014. So there you have a lot of document for the existing system. So those documents can give you really good information that can help you build the new system instead of spending a lot of time with the analyst or the developer, one who is working on the system. So at times, the end user may give you a lot of document and ask you go through the documents and get the necessary information from the document. So what are the benefits of document analysis? Validating the requirement completeness. So you can see that all your questions pertaining to the proposed system will be found in the documentation that they have provided you. Chunks of information are mostly buried in present documents. For sure, when there is a documentation done, even if they miss out to explain a particular stage or a step within the process or a standard operating procedure, SOP, or it can be for the existing system, workflow within the existing system. Even if they miss out any of these steps or different phases followed in the process, when you go through the documents, you can easily find out the information that has been missed out, or it can also contain all the information which has been demoed to you. They might have the stakeholder point of contact must have shown that to you on a system. They could have also recorded a video of what they're doing on the system and then hand it over to you, right? So there are different ways in which the stakeholders point of contact would have analyzed the system and given you the information. Or what is their understanding about the system, their understanding about the process, what is the documentation that they have created, that will be shared with you. And documents are always a beginning point for documenting all the current requirements. What is going on with the existing system, information of that can be obtained from document. Or what is going on with the current process based requirements can also be obtained from documents. There are a few risks and drawbacks with the document analysis. Number of documents that you get. You cannot prioritize which is the first document you will have to go through and which you have to do at a later stage, because all the documents are equally important. It is time consuming. By the time you sort out and find out which is the best document that you have to go through first and what is the information that you're looking for. So there could be so many files, so many PDF documents or hard copies of files given to you. So where to collect the correct information and which is the starting point, correct? So where can you find the step 1 of a process? Where is step 10 of a process? Where is step 20 of a process? So that could be a tedious task to sort out the files given to you and then get the correct information from the files. Conflicts. If there are different types of user guides created, there is a possibility for a conflict. The same process could have been defined in a different way by 2 or more number of analysts. So if you're getting 5 user guides for the same process, there could be plus or minus in the documents, the user guides obtained from different end users. So there is a conflict of understanding. Person A says there are only 4 steps in the standard operating procedure. Person B says no, there are 5 steps. Person C says no, there are 7 steps. Right? So it depends. in companies you must have seen some of the analysts do skip some of the steps that are not needed. At times they have to copy paste in a notepad and then copy paste that in an Excel file. They will be missing out on that step. Why notepad is required? Because data formatting can be an issue. They're very confident of just copying the data from the website, directly pasting it in Excel. But the actual standard operating procedure for that process is once you copy from the website, you have to paste it on a notepad file and then again copy and paste it in the Excel file. So they're missing out one step. When you have 2 or 3 types of documents like this, some of them may be following the correct procedure as per the process checklist, and some of them may be missing out on what they have to follow correctly. Exhausted. So much of information. There's a lot of document. Each one of the team members have created a document based on their understanding, their level of usage of the system, the steps that they are following. It is not in a proper order. If it would have been in a proper order and everything is sequential, everything is in an order, what is the need for a new system? Why there's so much of escalation? Correct? Not found real figures. What you're looking for has not found in the document. That is also possible. So after going through 50 to 60 files, you found out that the information that you're looking for or root cause of the problem is not there. You couldn't discover out of the documents that the end user has provided to you, which means you have absolutely wasted the time reading all the documents, but still you have not come to a final conclusion. So that's about document analysis. It is equally important compared to your verbal discussion. Reading the document and getting the requirement is equally important, but you have to be very careful. Don't spend a lot of time on reading documents that are not going to help you in any way. Focus group. A focus group is actually gathering of people who are customers or users, representatives for a product to gain its feedback. So when you have to get the customers or representatives or users to get a product feedback, existing product feedback, or in development product feedback, then you have to gather them to conduct a focus group. Why is it called a focus group? Because they're going to focus about one particular product and a solution pertaining to it. The feedback can be collected about opportunities, needs, and problems to determine requirements, or it can be collected to refine and validate the already elicited requirement. So there is a scenario where you've already elicited the requirement, means you've gathered the requirement and it should be further refined or it should be validated for correctness, completeness, and accuracy. And if there are any other valuable inputs that you can get from the product owners, mainly the product owners or one who knows much better about the product, existing product or product to be created. It is not just the product, it can also be the process. So if you have key people within the HR management department, HR department who can help you check if the process that you have understood or gathered is correct, and if they want to give any inputs before finalizing the requirements for new software development, then focus group is the only place where you can gather them, and it is not a brainstorming session. Already the requirements are elicited, requirements have been verified, analyzed, and you say this is the final set of requirements we have gathered for the new system to be developed. Do you have any opinion to share about these requirements? What are the benefits? Managed process with particular participants. Most important participants will be there. Refine and validate the elicited requirements. Allows analysts to rapidly obtain a wide variety of user views and possibly consensus. So if they have any negative aspect of the requirement gathered, if they want a change to be made or that requirement to be removed, then that becomes a question which can be discussed during the focus group and you can take a decision accordingly. Risks and drawbacks. Following the crowd, and some people think that focus groups are at best unproductive. Each one of them will have their opinion. One person says yes, all the resumes should be downloaded. Another person says, what is the need of downloading? You unnecessarily getting a lot of data into the database. It's an utter waste. Only those shortlisted 2 or 3 resumes can go into the database. Right? So discussions will be carried out, but whether it is productive or unproductive, it's again a big question. End up with least common denominator features. Could be positive, could be negative. Assemble groups. Getting everyone assembled in one place with at least 1 hour of time is not so easy when it comes to an organization. Dominant participants may influence group disproportionately. So you have to be very careful. I already gave you an example of who's a dominant participant. One who tries to say, I am good at everything. They may know, they may not know, they're least bothered. Only thing they want to prove is in front of the crowd, they want to say that they know everything. But that's not what you are expecting from a brainstorming session or from a group interview or from a focus group. Whenever you have a number of people participating, expect more issues. And you should have the diplomacy in handling the situation and having the situation under your control. But at the same time, you cannot command on people participating in a group discussion because they are seniors in the company and of course they are stakeholders. So you have to be very careful with your tone and your gestures. Any questions so far? Okay. The next requirement type is interface analysis. What do you mean by an interface? I've already given you an explanation for what is a graphical user interface or an user interface. In a calculator software, what you see is called as an interface or a user interface or a graphical user interface. It all means the same. So interface for any software product will either be human or machine. Correct? When you use a software product, who's going to use a software product? Either it can be completely automatic or you will be using the software product. So what you see in the software product is an interface. Integration with external devices and systems is another interface. What do you mean by external devices and systems in the medical terminologies in hospitals? You can find biomedical devices that are connected to systems. So the reading of a patient's heartbeat or blood pressure, pulse rate, inspiration and expiration, breathing. So all these are automatically read by the biomedical device through a sensor, and the input. Input means what comes into the software. Output means what goes out of the software to the end user. So when external devices like biomedical devices or a fingerprint device, or it can be huge sensor devices that can weigh bigger trucks in CPG or FMCG industry. Huge trucks that carry a lot of goods in it. So how is the weight measured for the truck? So there is an integration between the external device. External device can be another software, or it can be an electronic device, or it can be a biotechnology based device. It depends on the domain that you get to work on. Supposing you are good at human science or biotechnology domain or biochemistry, so you can get to work in a pharma industry or in biotechnology industry. So there you will have to work on molecular biology, molecules, atoms, the structure of a molecule, how is a medicine created, right? Chemical compositions. So what happens there? You will be conducting a lab research. Based on the lab research or the chemical that you use within a lab container. So the reading will directly flow from that device into your software. So what's happening there? It is an external device, but it is a pharmaceutical device, or it can be a biotechnology device. So the user-centric design approaches are quite effective to ensure that you make usable software. Softwares that you create must be easy to use and it should be usable. Interface analysis, analyzing the touch points with another external system, is vital to ensure that you do not overlook requirements that are not instantly visible to the users. Interface analysis is very important. There are so many softwares that are really good in the market. Mainly these ETL tools, data science tools. These are all very good softwares, but how easy is that to use? How long will it take for the end user to understand the software and then use it? Alright? So, just by looking at the software, it should be easier for the end user to use the software. If it is too complex, again you have to spend a lot of time on interface training, and it may take some time for the user to get used to the interface if it is too complex, if there are a lot of information available within one screen or a page. And it could be confusing. So interface design is equally important. It is as simple as you buy a TV and when you press the menu button on your remote, you see so many options. What will happen as an end user? Will it be good for you to understand? Will it be easier for you to understand? What is this? I press menu button and so much of information, AV, but what should I select? Well, everything I can't look at the user guide. And even if I look at the user guide, there are so many options, at least 50 options within a small screen. I won't even remember, even if I look at the user guide and do it for once. So grouping of information is needed, categorizing it, and then giving a drill down and drill up, collapsing and expanding. So only when you expand a particular category or group of information, the relevant details will be listed. Okay. So that's about interface analysis. Any questions so far? Interface can be anything, even mobile applications. As a business analyst, it is not just restricted to desktop or laptop based standalone application, two-tier, three-tier client-server architecture or web-based applications. You can also get to work on mobile applications, Android-based applications, iPhone-based applications. So then your main software is developed for what? It's developed for a mobile. It can be of Android operating system or it can be for an iPhone operating system. So that is the best part of a business analyst. There's no restriction on the type of project that you can work on. You can work for a mobile development project or you can work for a desktop-based development product. A simple reporting solution that you have to give. Reporting solution means creating dashboards. So you will learn what is a dashboard when you get to work on Tableau at a later stage in the training program. The next type of requirement elicitation technique is observation or social analysis. When you get to work with your stakeholders' point of contact, observe the surrounding. What is there in the surrounding? Observe. So when you look at the surrounding and when you observe, what is the information that you're going to gather? Why so many printouts are being taken out? What is the need for it? Correct? Why people from one desk to another desk keep moving around and they're discussing something? Is it about the process? Yes, you have observed for at least 5 minutes and they're discussing about the process. But why do they have to get up so many times from their desk and talk to each other? Don't they have a chat service or a messenger where they can discuss such things? And why there is one person in the HR department who's attending so many calls like a receptionist or a call center person? What is happening? What process is going on? Why so many calls are coming in? Alright? So all these are observations. Beyond the verbal discussion, beyond the documentation process, Your observation also matters. And that's when you have to come up with your set of questions. Social analysis is also known as observation, correct? When you observe something around you, what happens? You are analyzing the surrounding environment, and that's referred to as the social analysis. Observation is the method of collecting requirements by observing the people doing their normal work. This method is generally used to find the additional requirements needed by the user. Very, very important. If you want to understand the additional requirements that the user wants, or at times they may miss out to explain. It could be a simple process. After shortlisting the candidate, there should be a HR person, one who informs the candidate of the date and time when they have to come down for an interview. And when that will happen, there should be a telephonic communication that goes through. So many departments, so many hiring headcounts to be hired. So there will be a dedicated resource, one who's going to accept the calls, call the candidate, get their confirmation. And then what is happening? She's writing it down on a paper. Is that the correct practice? Filing is a good practice, but taking a lot of printouts and then manually writing on each of the printout the candidate's name, the time when the candidate is going to come, can't this be automated? There comes a question. Don't worry that the employee's role could be redundant, means they may lose their job just because you are suggesting some automation. And so let me wait up to the time the end user says, the point of contact says whether to automate their job or not. No, if you think that can be done or what they're doing, should that be a part of the software development, then you have to take the initiative to discuss about the person, that person's role, one who's involved in the communication. Okay. When the user is unable to explain their expected requirements from the new product and problems with the existing product. So if the end user is not too clear and partially they can give you the information and that's not complete because their process itself is in a mess. That is the reason the company has decided to invest $500,000 and get the new software built. They don't have a proper standard operating procedure document. They've been doing it the way they want. So what will you do? You have to get into the process analysis first. Even before you decide on getting the requirements for the new system to be developed, even before analyzing the existing system, first you should understand the process because the process is not well defined. So you have to bring it to a particular structured way of execution. You don't have to tell your stakeholders, point of contact or your end user, please follow this process henceforth. No, because the entire process is going to get automated using the software. So first define the process, put in a structured manner, and then you can decide what type of a system has to be developed if there doesn't exist a system in place, or if there already exists a system in place which is just serving 20 to 25% of the actual purpose. It is equally important. You already have something as a base, which is very helpful. If you're starting from the scratch without anything, it's going to be very difficult. If you already have a system in place, it's going to serve as a base. So you have around 20 to 25% of the work which is existing. The system is doing the process. The actual automation is done, but not completely. It's just a portion of it. So you have to collect all required information from the system and then convert that into the required document of existing system analysis as a system analysis and try to capture the remaining requirements. So what are the benefits of observation? We have an observation template, we have an interview template, we have a stakeholder template, which we will do it step by step starting from today's session. Okay. What are the benefits? The ability to record and report all findings that are true based on your observation. More than what they say, what you observe will have lot more truth, correct? Because it's happening right in front of you. It is more practical. No long calculation has to be done. Means you don't have to be too calculative about what has to be implemented. You don't have to assume, you don't have to think, overthink. You're seeing it right in front of you with your eyes, and that's your observation. That goes into the document. The viewers or researchers' own perception. It's a big risk or a drawback. With observation, if it is not verified, and if you directly say, I have observed it and this is correct to use in my requirement list. No, it could be your perception, it could be your assumption. So you have to be very careful, always validate or verify your observation and then convert that into a requirement. Need be, underline, not all observations have to be converted into a requirement. Few trials, studies, or objects observed to make an end conclusion. Results may contain human error. Okay, so that's about observation process. Any questions for me? I've already explained to you the term prototyping. Okay, can someone define what is a prototype? Or what can be prototyping method of requirements gathering or managing requirements? We have already discussed this topic. Can someone explain to me what is a prototype? Anyone? Give it an attempt. Anyone wants to try? Okay. So what is a prototype? A prototype or prototyping is a relatively modern technique for gathering requirements. In this approach, you gather preliminary requirements that you use to build an initial version of the solution. That is a prototype, a working model of the actual solution or the product that you're going to build is nothing but a prototype. You show this to the client. You show the prototype or a working model to the client. It could be 50, 60 or 70% working model, not a completed working model. So as and when the additional requirements are given, you capture the requirements and make incremental development using the prototype. And this is also an iterative method of development. What are the benefits? Prototypes can be ideal, reduce design risk, it is more practical, screen mockups. End user or the client can see the screens at the earliest. Using animation tools to create the user interface wireframes provides an understanding of the system functionality. So what are the various risks and drawbacks? Takes time to build. Because you're doing a trial and error work with the prototyping model. It's more costly to build. Again, you're doing a trial and error kind of an activity. So it's going to take a lot of money to build the solution. False sense of security. Final product is going to serve the purpose. That's an assumption. It can or it may not. The entire idea can be scrapped after 60% or 70% of the implementation, stating that this is not a feasible solution, so let's scrap it out. So those are the risks and drawbacks of the prototyping method of implementation. Next, you have facilitated sessions. In a facilitated session, you bring a larger group, 5 or more number of people together, and trying to gather a set of common requirements from the group in a faster manner than if you were to interview each one of them separately. So you're facilitating a session. We have different templates for how a session gets facilitated. So what is the benefit? You have the key people whom you want to ask a question and they can work together. They can also have brainstorming session together. Facilitated sessions at times are referred to as workshops. What is a risk or a drawback with this method? It is more expensive. Need for extra facilities to allow for group to work together. Correct. So the infrastructural arrangements have to be done, which could be expensive. Handouts and readings to be given to each of the participant. Again, a lot of time and investment needed for that. JAD, very, very important term. JAD refers to Joint Application Design or Joint Application Development. JAD or Joint Application Design, these workshops can be efficient for gathering requirements. Together, you're going to develop or design the application. That's what it means. Joint means together. The requirements workshops are more organized and structured than a brainstorming session where the involved parties get together to document requirements. Creation of domain model artifacts like activity programs or other diagrams and collaborative work can be carried out using the joint application development. Most of the time, joint application development is more technical and domain specific activity, and it takes place when the application design starts. Software design, architectural design, and the core development activities start. What are the benefits? Group typically stays in the session until the session objectives are completed. Participants stay in session until a complete set of requirements are documented and agreed to. What are the risks and drawbacks? Takes time to build, more costly to build, and whether it can be successful if the design is going to be approved or not is still a question. Though it has been discussed in the joint application development, JAD is a very common session which will be conducted on a weekly basis in agile implementation. So be thorough with the term JAD, what is the full form of it, and why do you need JAD sessions in your company? As a business analyst, you will be organizing the JAD sessions. You will be initiating the JAD session, getting people to participate in the JAD sessions. Any questions for me? Questionnaire. What do you mean by questionnaire? Asking questions. So at times when we go to malls, we find some of the customer service representatives give you an iPad and ask you to fill some information. Or at the entrance of the mall, exit point of the mall, there is a feedback session. It could be computerized or it could be paper handout based. So you'll have a set of questions and answers have to be yes or no, true or false, tick marks, or fill in the blank. There'll be a blank line and the customer writes the name of the brand or the product that they frequently buy. It could be cheese or it could be jam, sandwich, whatever it is. So these are questionnaires. You ask questions and you expect the end user to answer your question. So when you have large number of people to respond and all their responses are gathered in a standardized way, then you have to capture answers of all the questions from all the end users, put that together in form of a database and then circulate it. What are the risks and drawbacks? Difficult filling for users. When there are so many questions, it could be difficult for the end user to fill the actual information. At times they say, oh, I'm busy, I'm sorry, I'm busy, I have to move on. Why is that? It's such a big questionnaire. I don't have time to read all of these and fill in. So you have to make it more interactive and interesting. So that could be done through computerized process, or you can use iPad or iPhone kind of devices, something that can make the customer look into it, right? It is a means of attracting the information. More than paperwork, if they fill the paper blanks or tick marks in a paper, printed paper, again, you have to feed that into the computer or it has to be scanned. There are a lot of activities, right? So instead of that, you have good web page for questionnaire, different questions on web pages, or interactive, very attractive animation kind of question. A doll comes or an animal comes and then it asks for a question, and out of multiple choice of answers, one answer should be selected. So that's going to make the customer attend to your questionnaire. Okay. Survey. How is a survey different from a questionnaire? A survey means assessing an existing information. There is a product and you're conducting a survey for that product. There is a product that your company has offered, and that product is already there in the hypermarket shelf. How quickly the product is moving, what is the customer's input about the product, are they finding it useful for their household activities, or it could be a food product, are they liking it, how the taste of it is, how the quality is, quantity is it worth for the amount they're paying. It is an existing product. So you have to conduct a survey to find out what's good or what's bad about that product. The same thing holds good for a process or for a system, an existing system. So you're conducting a survey. You're not asking questions. You're conducting a survey. A question can be different from a survey. Do you like this product XYZ? It's a survey question. Whereas in a questionnaire, how often do you visit this store? Is it about a product? Is it a survey? No, it's a question. How far do you travel to come to this store? How do you commute to the store? You're analyzing the transportation facility to the hypermarket. So all those are questionnaires. Benefits: less cost, reach large number of people, a detailed critical inspection. At times questionnaires and surveys are put together. You want the customer input. So it's totally called a questionnaire or a survey. You're asking something and you're looking for an answer. That's it. What are the various risks and drawbacks? Difficult filling for users. Participants may forget important issues. They may answer, they may not answer. Next, use cases and scenarios. We have a UML diagram called use case diagram. It's called use case modeling. We will see use cases in detail when we go through the UML use case diagrams. But here use case means who's an actor and what are the systems involved in communication. So how the actors interact with the system is what you will know more about in use cases and scenarios. Okay. So benefit is each and every use case, how the system is implemented, how the process is carried out, everything will be defined as a use case with a proper scenario. Risks or drawbacks: poor identification of structure and flow. It is time consuming because you have to create use case diagrams for each and every use case or a scenario that you identify. Requirements reused. Existing requirements can be reused. What is a benefit? You will save a lot of time. What is a risk? Existing requirement may satisfy new requirement or it may not completely satisfy a new requirement. So just like that, having it as a copy, replica of an existing requirement is a new requirement, at times could not serve the purpose. So you have to be very careful when you reuse the requirements. RFPs, standard terms used in most of the organization. Request for proposal and request for quotation. Request for proposal means what is that you will need. The customer has to give their proposal to you. So what is their expectation from a system to be created, software to be created? So that is the RFP. reverse engineering, when there is a process, when there is a system, but it does not have enough documentation, what you have to do is reverse engineer. See what the system does, see what the process does, and then you have to understand the existing system or the process, and finally come up with necessary documentation based on the reverse engineering of existing system or existing process. You can create requirements for the new system to be developed. So if the process is not well defined and it is a big mess, so you have to re-engineer, reverse engineer to see what is the existing process and the system and come up with a solution for the new system. Good. So we have seen different types of techniques. Overall, you can consider these as most important techniques. One-on-one interviews, all your group discussions, brainstorming, workshop, JAD sessions, or it can be a focus group, wherever more number of people are involved. That becomes a group discussion. On the whole, you can term it as a group discussion. Prototype method, requirement reuse or reverse engineering process, questionnaires and surveys, and observation. So together, you can reduce the number of techniques and you can put it under the headings, interviews, questionnaires, observations or social analysis, prototyping, brainstorming or any type of group discussion where more number of people are involved. Use case, design, requirement, reuse and reverse engineering of requirements. So together you can reduce the number of techniques and you can say interview is going to be one-to-one discussion. If I have more number of people, it can either be a JAD session or it can be a brainstorming or it can be focus group or it can be a group interview. All group related discussion where no more number of people are involved, put that together as one of the methodologies, one of the techniques to get the requirements. Questionnaires, if you have to ask a question or conduct a survey, could be manual, printout based, paper based, or it can be computerized. So that becomes your questionnaire method of requirement gathering. Okay, so these are the simplest and the easiest way. What you're seeing here is which is the best method of requirement gathering. Interviews, questionnaires, and reuse the requirements. Requirement which is gathered once, you can try to reuse for multiple scenarios. That's going to save a lot of time. So that holds the most important. There are other types of requirement techniques which have been defined here, but it holds a lesser percentage of importance compared to these methods. Brainstorming is equally important. Okay. Brainstorming or group discussion or a workshop, wherever you have to involve more number of people to get useful ideas for software development. So with this, we finish the requirements elicitation technique. Lot of techniques. Finally, we group the techniques into one-on-one discussion, group discussion, prototyping, what you observe, questions or surveys conducted, joint application design and development, and requirement reuse or reverse engineering of the process. Any questions so far? You have to be thorough with these terms. These are very easy to remember or understand. There isn't anything complex about these. How you gather requirements, you can put it on your Excel file, you can put it on a Word file, or you have requirements gathering applications where you can have the application requirements loaded into the application. So these are in-house applications. So whatever is the technique that you follow, you have to still capture all the requirements and document it. The finalized requirements. So what is this phase of requirement elicitation? It's under requirement planning stage, the very first stage. You're talking to your client verbally, you're discussing through documents, you're discussing through video conference, n number of ways in which you try to get the requirements. So once the requirements are obtained, what should you do? You should analyze the requirements. Not all the documents from where you have got the requirements are valid. It may be used, it may not be used. Correct? So you have to take a decision of which is a valid requirement and which is not a valid requirement. Good. So next we have process analysis and other details. So before that, we have seen a lot of theory. So here is the overall summary slide. So there are different requirement elicitation techniques. So when you have to brush up of what are the various techniques, they will surely ask as a business analyst, what are the various requirement gathering techniques that you are aware of? So you have to tell as many techniques possible. So when you say different types of technique names and you can give an explanation, it will clearly show that, see, these are not difficult. If you can just remember of what I have explained to you or just go through this video once again, you will have that registered in your mind and you don't have to theoretically read what these requirement gathering techniques are. Because on a day-to-day basis, be it in a software industry or any industry, you will meet someone, you'll meet a colleague or an employee and you will talk to them because you need something from them. So what are the different ways in which you get what you need from your colleague, from another employee, be it in your company or be it in another company? That's what is the requirement gathering technique all about. So there are two slides here that clearly explains what are the various requirement gathering techniques. As time permits, please revise these, take a screenshot of this and have it saved in your computer. Just keep looking at it and you will not forget it. It's going to be easier for you to grasp the names. So if you know the name, of course you will remember the explanation that I have given to you for each of these titles. Got it? That's the easiest way to remember these requirement gathering techniques. We've seen a lot of theory, so we will do something different. So we have covered what are requirements, what are the various requirement elicitation types and techniques. We will get on to a mind map diagram. We will see how to create a mind map diagram using Visio. Okay. So open a sample mind map diagram given to you all. This is a simple mind map diagram for a website design and particularly for the HR management system. So when you have a discussion with your stakeholder, first level of discussion or first few sessions of discussion, you will start visualizing how a system should look like or how it should function. So that first cut of idea that you get in your mind or how you visualize the system's functionality, what are the various options in the system, not in detail, at a very, very high level. So that's what is called as mind map. The idea or the thought that has come to your mind after a few sessions of discussion with your stakeholder should be mapped or it should be put together as a diagram so that your end user will know what you have understood or you clearly telling your end user, the stakeholder's point of contact, this is what is my understanding at a very high level. This is correct. Or do you have anything? This could serve as a base. You can build on this. So this is the first level of, or it's a foundation for what you have understood of the proposed system to be software system to be created. Okay. we will see how to create a mind map diagram using Visio. Open an instance of Visio. I will use this term commonly henceforth, which means if I already have a Visio drawing opened, or if I do not have a Visio drawing open. When I say open an instance of Visio means open Visio on your computer. Right click on the icon of Visio and select Visio. As I've already explained to you, let us not revise the concepts again and again. The left side you will see all the recently opened Visio drawings, and right side you have different drawings available within Visio. So let us follow the standard method of creating a drawing that's called a blank drawing. Click on the blank drawing. Select metric units. Click on create. Next step is click on view, and then you have to set it to the page width. Make it bigger so that you can create the drawing. Scroll up, leave it. Okay. Click on more shapes. And all that you need to create a mind map diagram is a basic flowchart shape. That's all you need. You don't need anything complex here. Okay. Basic flowchart shapes. Okay. Now, what you have to do is first create the diagram and then you can add the write-up. Mind map diagram comprises of the actual idea or the thought that you have visualized in your mind. You're putting it as a drawing and a write-up of what you have understood. Two parts. In the first part, you have the HRMS website. That is the center part of the diagram. So you know that you have to see for the dotted green line, which clearly says what is the center of the drawing, and leave it there. So this is the start. HRMS website. A website is also called a portal, P-O-R-T-A-L. In the software industry, they may call it a website, or they may call it a web application, or they may also call it a portal. Okay, web portal or a portal. Now, all other shapes that you need can be used from this list. So I need a home page. The very first thing is a home page. I don't need a bigger one. A smaller one is more than sufficient. Home page. So give a name of what you are visualizing. Then you have header, footer. This is called a header. Header of the web page. Footer of the web page. What it should contain. So finish the header part of it. Company logo. Menu items. Website name. Icons or pictures. So this is the first part of it. You can hold your control key and your mouse to select multiple shapes that you've added, and you can align it accordingly. Okay. You can drag it together, or you can also use your shift and up, down, left, right arrow key as needed. So the first part is done. The second part is for the footer. So now that you have already added, hold your control key, select all of these shapes and control V. So now do you see this dotted line to the left? It means it is vertically aligned. Now you can leave it. Navigation links means within the website, which are all the other pages to visit: recruitment, compensation and benefits, leave management. So that should be listed on the left side or right side. Only then you can navigate, or it can be on top of the website. Images, copyrights, icons or pictures on the footer. Okay, so one part is done. Now create another part. Make sure the spacing is even between these two. This is called sub pages. Okay, and then you have all the other details here. Make sure it is correctly placed. Navigation links. So this is my idea or my thought process about a web application to be created, which I want to show to the stakeholder after the discussion. You may have a different set of idea based on the project or the process that you get to work on. So you have to create the diagram based on what you understand. Don't think this is a standard. Everywhere you should use navigation link. It's a standard name. No, that's not how it works. Okay. So now this is the left navigation pane, what it should contain. So what you see here is a left navigation pane. Here it is not navigating, you're only having the shapes. But if in a website, like in Gmail, on the left side you see inbox, manage accounts, so many other options, right? So that's a left navigation pane that helps you do a lot of activities within the web page. Product name. Okay, so this is completed. All you have to do now is to add the connector. Click on the, so when you create adding shapes, you should always remember that it should be on the pointer tool, and only when you connect all the shapes you should click on the connector. Connect. Okay, so you need curved connectors. Click on design, connector, curved lines. Okay, then again okay, this should happen at once, otherwise it's going to be a very difficult task. Undo is Control Z. So pressing Control Z will undo. Control Y is for redo. Even before you add the connector, in a mind map, all you need is the curved connectors. Connectors are of three types: right angle connector, straight line connectors, and curved line connectors. Straight lines are just straight lines that you can connect at any angle. Right angle connectors are exactly 90-degree connectors. Curved connectors or curved lines are for creating curved lines. So now select curved connector once and now start drawing. So when you select and then draw, automatically you will only get curved lines because you've selected the type of curved lines in the design. Click on design and change the connector type to curved lines. You don't have to do it again and again. It's a one-time activity. Okay. This is for the footer. Same way, connect. Hold your mouse tight, mouse click, and release it only after connecting. So it's so easy to do if you know how to use Visio and the various options. Connect, click outside, then again connect. This is the completed diagram. So what you have verbally discussed with your stakeholder, you can put your understanding or your thought process as a diagram and you can share it. Back to pointer tool. Now you have to give an explanation. If you blindly give this, if you just give the drawing, what will they understand? Okay, so now create a text. Visual impact is done. Now text-based explanation is also required. Okay. So you can either create this in a notepad file . Okay. So the above diagram describes the features of a website to be newly created to sell the product or to sell or for is created to carry out HR process because you're creating a HRMS system. At a high level design understanding, website should contain header means top part of the website. Footer is the bottom part of the website. Sidebars and subpages. Subpages should contain various other pages to include in the website and to be navigated from the home page. Header and footer should contain details that enable the end user to easily navigate and view the sitemap of the website. Correct? So what do you mean by that? Just give me a minute. Okay, this is a sample website. We will be using this website very often. This is a very helpful website. You can make a note of it. This is called w3schools.com. It contains various technologies, whatever you want to learn. So what am I talking about when it comes to subpages and navigation links? So these are navigation links. Sidebar. What do you see here? There's a left navigation pane. It's a pane, right? So why is it called navigation? Navigation means what in English? Means moving from one place to another place. So when I select a particular link here, it is going to navigate to some other page. So what are these? These are all sub pages. Supposing you want to view a particular sub page. SQL. So here on the top you have different options. So these are all sub pages. w3schools.com is the main website. What you see here is the main software, right? This is the main web application. This is a software. Now, this is a sub page. SQL is a sub page. So within that sub page, you have a lot of other pages listed here in the navigation pane. Left, if it is on the left, it is left navigation. If it is on the right, it is a right navigation. What you see here on the top is the header. You have a logo So what is that you've defined here? Header has a company logo. Yes, it has. And then menu items. Yes, it has the menu items defined here. So these are all menu items. Website name. You have the website name. Icons and pictures, if any. You have a lot of search icons, home icons. So many icons are available. Okay. So now you have an idea of what are the various terms used here in the diagrammatic representation. Header and footer should contain details that enable the end user to easily navigate and view the sitemap of the website. Correct? So what is the sitemap of this website? What's allowing? You have this tutorial. So when you click on the tutorial, it is showing all the sub pages. These are all sub web pages or sub pages that you can click to view the relevant information. Correct? There's so much of information in this website which you can log in and check. So it's called w3schools.com. Okay. Sidebar should contain additional features that serves as a user-friendly control on the web page. So here you don't find any major sidebars, but there can be additional sidebars that can have some additional details to help you navigate through the website. So the navigation through the website should be very, very easy. This is a software for your benefit. What if you're creating a retail software, an e-commerce portal website where the customer has to buy the product? There are so many online shopping websites. So why do you think some of the websites are very easy to use and some of the websites are common? It's slightly complex to use. Correct. So whichever is very easy, that is a website that you're going to prefer. If there's a lot of information, lot of pictures, and it takes a long time for the web page to load, what will you do? Will you choose that website even if they're offering a few cents lesser than or few dollars lesser than the other website? Oh my god, I can't waste my time working on this website and getting the order placed. There are so many steps that I have to follow to check out my product and get it ordered to make the payment. If there are 2 or 3 steps in searching the product, add checkout. That's the easiest and that's what I'm going to use. That's the preferred website. So end users, ease of using your product should always be in your mind when you create a product, when you create a software. Functionality wise, look and feel wise, usage wise, everything. Okay. That's about the mind map diagram. And once you're done with it, as always, you should add a title to it. Always remember the title and the drawing number. Add a title, mind map, website design, HRMS version 1.0. Okay. Next, add a text box and change the weight of the border line, that is to quarter, back to pointer tool. Always remember you should come back to the pointer tool. Click on view, fit to window and see how it looks. It looks good. The spacing is even. Always the spacing should be even in the left hand side, right hand side, on the top and bottom. If you think this can slightly move down, you can do that. This is the completion of a mind map diagram. Very, very helpful. You can have different mind map diagrams placed one below the other. It is allowed. But don't forget to number your drawing 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive numbers. Now save the drawing. You can convert this into a PDF or an image file and then circulate. So what is this called? This is a mind map diagram. I've just selected Visio drawing. First save it as a Visio drawing and then you can save it in any other preferred format, PDF or in image formats, so that you can circulate it on an email. Any questions about the mind map diagram? Or why do you need a mind map diagram? I think I've given you an explanation. Okay, good. So now we will see a few templates. So far, I've introduced you to the PPT, theoretical explanation, and then the Visio drawing. Now, in addition to this, we will also see few templates that you have to use as a part of your BA role. Correct? So, what are the various techniques we have seen so far? We have seen interview, questionnaire, brainstorming, facilitated sessions, observations. So for each one of these, you don't have diagrams for everything. Only mind map and brainstorming you have a diagram. Okay, brainstorming and legend diagram we will do it at a later stage because we have just seen one of the diagrams. We will start with stakeholder analysis. Here is a template for a stakeholder analysis. Templates are very, very handy. If you have to collect the information and have it stored in form of a document. In the form of a document, these are standard templates. These are not projects. This is not a proper business requirement document or a functional requirement document or a technical specification document. This is a template. A template can be used for various purposes. So when you have to capture a particular information about your observation or the interview, how you're going to schedule an interview. So your day-to-day activity as a business analyst should be captured in documents for proper circulation, distribution to the distribution list and to the most important key point of contacts of the project, one who has to give the approval. They have to approve and sign off. Other than the core documents of BRD, FRD, complete project documentation, SRS document, these templates are equally important. So here is a simple, these are standard templates you can download from the blog, TechieBee's blog, and you can use these. Business analysts would really struggle to create such good templates, which are very, very handy. Then and there, if you have to create the document pertaining to a particular discussion that you have had, then these templates are the best to use. Stakeholder analysis template is the title. You can convert template into a document. You can change the names as you need. Contents. What's the content of it? We'll see what's there within this document. Stakeholder groups. Project steering committee. What do you mean by the term steering? Steering means one who is taking things forward. Direction. One who's directing the project. So which is that committee? The name and their email ID. Core project team. Core project team is the team that is going to work on the project. Okay. What is an extended project team? An extended project team refers to those supporting teams that are very much needed to help the core project team to finish the project or carry out the project, create the software. So what are these extended project teams? It can be a finance group, it can be an audit group, quality group, infrastructure management group, asset management group, different groups. That's the explanation for an extended project team. They extend support to the core or the main project group which is going to work on the project. Supply chain or asset management, finance, internal audit, quality, many other departments. Whoever is going to be involved in the project, all their details have to be captured in this table. This entire thing is called a table. If you do not know MS Word, you have not worked on MS Word, or you know MS Word but you do not know how to create tables, etc., don't worry at all. We have a session for how to create MS Word document. We will see that in detail. Next, within the steering committee, there are different roles. So now you have to define people and their responsibility role-wise. Who is the project sponsor from a business standpoint, from IT standpoint, supply chain, finance, HR, whichever department in your company. From core project team, who's the project manager? Who's a vendor manager? Supposing you're giving some part of your project to a vendor company. So what happens? You must know who's the vendor for your project. Their contact details. Business analyst, that's you and your team. Technical lead, one who's going to lead the technical activities in the core project team. Development lead, one who's going to take care of the development activities or the programming activities. Correct? QA lead, one who's going to take care of the quality assurance related activities. Okay, there is a question here. Can you please show the path to this file in the blog? I can't find it. Okay, as soon as you open the blog, right, on the left hand side, you should find training materials. Click on that. So there I've added a path that states BA templates trainer Lakshmi. So within that, you should find BA study materials. So there you have a zip file. Okay, BA study material zip file. Download the zip file, and within study material folder, you will find all of the templates. All of these templates that I'm giving you a demo of. If you still have a difficulty in finding it out, Sunil can help you download the file on your system. Okay. SME means subject matter expert. Good. That's good, Preeti. Glad to know. SME means subject matter expert. As I've already told you, without a domain, there is no software. There should be meaning to what you're creating. You're doing something with Java, good. You're creating some product, good. But for what? Who's going to use it? It should be for HR, or it should be for retail. It should be for an e-commerce, or it should be for digital marketing, analyzing the emails sent to the customer. How many emails have been sent? How many emails were opened? How many emails were not opened? What is the performance of your website? Capital markets, equities, fixed income, derivatives. Correct? There are so many activities that will be performed in a company. So it is not just the technical part of it, you also need subject matter experts. So within your core project team, it is not just the technical people who are going to be there. You will also have domain specific or SME, subject matter experts, and all their details have to be captured in this document. This is a very, very important document, and the very first document that you'll create, this is the stakeholder analysis document. Extended project team. So when you have an extended project team that needs some assistance, then you should enter their details in the extended project team table. Any other information that you want to capture, you can enter it here in this section. Okay. So this is the stakeholder analysis template. There are some other templates available for stakeholder analysis, some more. Another example that I would like to give you is, here is a stakeholder analysis to be done for HRMS project. So how will you do that? With the date, time, stakeholder analysis, role and requirement elicitation document, name of the project, version number of the project. Correct? So with this information, what should you do next? Open the document. So this is another type of stakeholder analysis wherein if you have to finalize whom you are going to have a discussion with to get the requirements. For example, for a marketing project. So far we have seen HRMS. So now let us consider the marketing project. John Matthew is an operations analyst, and what is he going to do in terms of requirements? Complete job shadowing to understand the existing marketing system. So he's going to give you job shadowing means he's going to show the entire set of steps or procedures that they follow in the marketing system, on his computer to you. Mark Thompson, he's a marketing analyst. He's going to give you complete marketing process explanation. That's what you think. But Mark Thompson replied back to you. Very clearly, he states that he cannot give the complete information needed. I cannot help you with the marketing, communication and networking as I am not involved in those activities. Please contact my department head to clarify the requirements that I can give you. This is what Mark has replied to you because he doesn't know anything about marketing, communication activities and networking activities. So what you did, you had to check with the marketing head, Lisa. Lisa Grace will help with the communication practices. What did Lisa do? Lisa has agreed to participate in giving requirements for 10 hours a week. Mark will provide requirements as and when needed without time limitations. So marketing head has told that Lisa will participate but only for 10 hours a week she can give the requirements. Remaining hours Mark will give you the requirements as needed without any time limitations. Okay. So finally, what is the conclusion out of these discussions? This document was uploaded on a SharePoint or any of the network drives, and this document was read and feedbacks, inputs were given in this document. As you see, different colors to say different people have communicated. So finally, what is the conclusion? Agree to the time allocation. We will start. Lisa will spend 10 hours a week and Mark will spend n number of hours a week, maximum extent possible, without any time limitation. So agree to the time allocation. We will start the interaction by second week of October, November, whenever, on mutual agreement of the time slot. This is the perfect stakeholder analysis. It is well documented. It's a very simple document. It's just one page. There's nothing complex about it. But it is very well documented. Communications are tracked. It is not missed out. After 3 months, they say, no, this is not what we told. You have it as a document proof. You can very well share this document and tell them, look, this is what we discussed. You said Lisa is going to contribute 10 hours a week and she didn't do it. What am I going to do? How will I finish my requirement gathering? Right? So that's about stakeholder analysis. There are some more sample documents that are available for stakeholder analysis. Some more templates are there. You can go through these templates. Okay. These are standard templates that are used in companies. So this is the one I have shown you. This is the example that I've given a demo of. Fine. So the very first requirement elicitation technique that you have seen is the stakeholder analysis. So there in the PPT, I explained to you what it is all about. But here, in terms of document, now you would have got a better understanding of what do you mean by stakeholder analysis and what are the templates that you can use to connect stakeholder analysis. What is the second technique we have seen? We will see the interview template. Open the interview template. First, you have to plan the interview. As I've already told you, if you are going to ask the questions, then you are an interviewer. W-E-R. That's the suffix. The person one who's going to answer you is an interviewee. W-E-E. W-E-E and W-E-R. So don't get confused with these two terms. Interview plan template. Date and time when the interview is going to be conducted. Location. Interviewee. Who's going to answer you? You can also have interviewer. Role. What is the role of the interviewee? Vice President, Senior Manager, Director. What are they doing? Key subject for discussion. What is this interview meant for? Is this a group interview or is this a face-to-face interview? If it's a group interview, you'll have 2 to 4 interviewees attending. Otherwise, if it's a one-to-one interview, only one interviewee is going to be there. Means only one person is going to answer your questions. Agenda. What are the type of questions? Mainly, what are the topics that you would like to discuss about in the interview? You're giving an overview of this is what we will be talking about in the interview, which is very important for an interviewee or the person who's going to attend the interview, because they must know what they're going to be questioned about so that they will know if they can answer. Are they the right point of contact who can give you the correct answers, or they will arrange for the people who can assist. Types of questions that you can ask in an interview. Very important question in your BA's role. Where to ask which type of a question. Whom to ask which type of a question. At times, if you ask a top management official, a professional, the wrong question and with the wrong tone, expect something very negative from them. Right on your face. You have to be very careful because they are paying you. They're paying the company. And you cannot show your anger because you asked something wrong. And even if they are busy, if they are in pressure, if they're not too calm, they're not too soft spoken, you have to manage all types of people. Don't worry, as soon as you enter a software company, they won't ask you, please, next day, go to the client location and somehow manage things. That's not going to happen. It will at least take 6 months to 1 year for you to get used to the system, get used to the company, and then slowly you will get introduced to the client and you will start your interaction with the client. So what are the various types of questions? Open, closed, limited choice, leading, probing, linked questions. What do you mean by an open question? You have asked something and it's an open question. They can answer beyond what you have asked, or the question can still lead to many answers. Very clever way of getting a lot of information from an individual. One question and pulling out a lot of information from them. Closed-ended question. You ask a question, you get an answer. That's it. That's the direct answer. Limited choice. So what do you think? Is this correct or wrong? Yeah, this is correct. It's a limited choice. Whether it's correct or it's wrong. Do you think it's true or false? Do you think it's possible or not possible? So these are all limited choice questions. Leading question. You ask a question, they give you an answer, and in turn, they ask you a question. You asked a question about the process, they explained it, and they said, they ask you in turn, can your company manage this advanced technology that we are looking for? So what happens? It's a leading question. You have asked a question that is leading to another question. So at times you may be in trouble. So always avoid leading questions. Correct? Getting answer is much better than answering their questions. At times they may ask questions which are irrelevant, which you may not be in a position to answer. Don't expect everyone to be too good to you. Not everyone likes everyone. Vice versa. You don't have to be too pessimistic. You have to be optimistic as well. So combination of people, their characters, the way they treat you, the way they talk to you. Some of them think, okay, let me encourage this person, let him come up in life. Some of them think, I know so much. Okay, let me try to test his patience. It's up to you. It's your luck. What type of people you're going to meet, whom you're going to meet. Right? So every situation you have to manage. So try to assess, analyze that person. Judge the person by talking to them. While talking, it is not just the requirement or what you're trying to get. Understand that person. Be careful with your words. If you think they're not in a good mood or they're not answering you properly, don't ask any irritating questions. So, do you think we can finish this project in 6 months? You have so many requirements. If they're not in a good mindset, do you know what will be the answer to that question? If you think it is not possible, then why should we give the project to you? Yeah, big problem if you get these kind of answers, right? So never give place to leading questions unless and until it is a need, right? Probing. You want them to answer more. It can either be they ask you a question or they themselves say more about something. So that's a probing question. One question leading to a set of answers, not just one answer. Linked questions. You ask a question, they give you an answer. You ask another question, they give you an answer. They ask a question, you give an answer. It is all linked. Same topic, lot of linked questions are going on. Is that going to serve the purpose? If yes, okay. But keep it limited. It should not be like a building block, you ask, they ask, you ask. There are so many topics in the agenda for the interview. And one topic, if you're discussing hours together, you just have 1.5 hour schedule. So you have to be very specific about the type of questions you ask. Thanks and closure. Make sure you summarize the points that you have made a note of. Always carry a notepad with you. You have to make notes when you have a discussion, be it a junior analyst, a fresher, or vice president or president, CEO, whomever you discuss with. You have to capture the information in your notepad. End of it, you must summarize it, not just capturing the information. You have to tell what you have understood or what you have written, and they should agree. If there is anything contradicting to what you have understood or written, for sure they will tell you right there. Don't keep that as an email activity, sending another 5-6 emails to confirm what you've written. No one has time for all this. Then and there, have last 5 minutes, read it out and tell them this is what is your understanding, and thank the interviewee for their time, right? Be courteous. Please tell them thank you so much for your time. This discussion is going to be really beneficial. Further, if there needs to be any follow-up discussions, I will surely get back to you. But this discussion has been extremely helpful and I've got a lot of information from you. That's how you have to build a rapport with them, so that next time when you call them for another 1 hour of interview, they should, at least for the way you have spoken to them, they should, okay, another 1 hour, let me try fitting that in my schedule. Correct? Tell them what happens next. Don't leave them blindly think, okay, I gave the information. What is she going to do? What is he going to do with this? Tell them what are you going to do next. Tell them you're going to create a document and you will send it for approval and sign off. Once the sign off is done, formally you can take it ahead for design or for business requirement document. Whatever is the next steps that you are going to follow. Keep the door open for further interactions. You can tell the interviewee, if you need a discussion with me for any further understanding, please do not hesitate to contact me. That's how you have to conduct an interview. Very, very formal. What you do is all your company. What you do shows what your company is all about. What type of people they have hired shows what type of a company they are. Correct? So you have to be very careful. What you do determines the future of your company, whether they're going to get next set of projects or is the current project going to be taken off. Right? Many projects have been lost due to business analysts' fault. Right? So you have to be very careful and always document, send it to them, send it to the stakeholder, get their approval and sign off. That's what is going to help you on a long run. Communication plan. Be it stakeholder analysis, be it interview, be it anything, group discussion. Communication is everything. Even in the requirements, before we have seen the types of requirements, techniques of requirement elicitations. What is important? Communication. Unidirectional and bidirectional communication. Unidirectional means you ask and they say. Bidirectional means you ask, they also ask. Two-way communication. Or multiple, three-way, four-way. N number of people talk and N number of types of communications that takes place. But you should have a strategy defined for the communication. What are the various delivery methods? One-to-one meeting, group meetings, document distributions, emails, hard copy, presentation methods, verbal presentation, handouts or visual presentation using PPTs or computerized methods. What are the various documentation formats? You can type your understanding in the form of text as a Word document, tables in a Word document or Excel, diagrams using Visio, models using Visio, level of formality, formal communication, informal communication. Two different types of communications. Let us see the communication plan. Activity, project contract sign off. So software project that has come to your company and a formal contract sign off should take place, for which what are the various types of communications needed? To sign off the project contract that defines the terms and conditions for billing. Audience, entire stakeholder group, everyone from the stakeholder company. When, the date, delivery method, email and document repository. Once the contract is signed off, it should be circulated on an email and there will be a document repository like a FileZilla or a SharePoint, share folder, network folder. You have to save it in the document repository. Repository means a place where the document is saved. What are the various presentation methods? Written communication is a must for contract sign-off, right? Verbal discussion is done. Now everything has to be in papers. It should be signed. It should be documented. What's the type of documentation? Mainly text. Contracts are in the form of text. What's the level of formality? Whether it's formal or informal. This is a formal. Level of formality is formal. Formal sign-off required. Where? Where is it going to take place? Company premise. Where's the document sign-off, contract sign-off communication going to take place? It's a written communication and formally it has to be carried out in your company premise. You have invited all the stakeholders to do that. So this is the perfect communication plan for a contract sign-off. Another informal type of communication. Requirement intro session. To begin the requirement gathering phase. Stakeholder suggested point of contact. Contact the HR recruiter. They will give you the requirements. When? The date. What's the delivery method? Face-to-face, group discussion and emails. That's how the requirements are going to be gathered. Correct? Presentation method, verbal and written. Documentations pertaining to the requirements can have text, tables in Word, and diagrams in Visio, like mind map diagram or a brainstorming diagram, etc. Level of formality, this is informal because every day you're going to have a discussion with the stakeholder point of contact and the details have to be documented. Where? Premise online webinar system sharing. It can be on premise, people come to your company or you go to the stakeholder's company and you have a discussion. Online discussion, webinar discussion using WebEx or GoToMeeting. System sharing. Use TeamViewer to share the system and understand the process. So these are different types of communication plans that you have to create. So which type of, you can have this as a reference. It can be towards the end of the document, but each and every activity that involves written or verbal communication should be listed here, so that you will clearly know for which type of an activity to be carried out, what is the type of a communication to be implemented. Okay. Any questions for me?
Hi Lakshmi, this is Preeti.
Yes, Preeti.
In an agile environment,
Yeah.
where the stakeholder is thinking of giving you requirements and getting it done in a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
how much of a possibility is it for us to maintain all these documents, and is it really expected of us?
This is a very formal document. This is good to have. What is the type of communication plan? Most of the time, this will be a one-time activity. If you're doing it for one project, the other projects you can just edit it. Because the set of steps that you're going to have, requirement gathering or client interaction, these are all standard ones for most of the projects. So if you fill it out for one of the projects, then you can carry it on, or you can carry forward the same for other projects as well.
Okay.
It's a good
Would there
practice,
be
be
any?
it agile, be it anything. Communication plan is needed, interview is needed. Even for agile, you need a base requirement document. So when you have to create a base requirement document, you should interact with your stakeholder, you should get the requirements, you should analyze the requirements. Standard set of steps are very much needed, be it for any type of software development methodology. Correct? Companies are skipping it out. They're not in need of all this, but this is the standard procedure that you have to follow as per IIBA.
Okay.
To save time, to just get the project done, there should be some standard way in which you work. Right? If you're working for a startup company which is at CMM level 2 or 3, how do you bring it to level 5? As a BA, that's also your responsibility. So only when you have all these kind of proper documentations done, you will be successful in your external audits conducted annually or semi-annually.
Okay.
Right? So it's always good to follow the best practice. And now that you're learning BA, this wouldn't take much longer. Be it your stakeholder analysis, these are all standard set of documents. Right. So at least communication plan, one-time activity. For one of the project, you fill it and keep it as a template. Every time you have to just spend 10-15 minutes to edit it. That's it. But it is good. This template can sit within the SharePoint folder pertaining to each of the projects. There's no harm in it, right? It's a
Yeah.
good practice.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. So we have seen 3 types of templates today: stakeholder analysis template, interview template, and communication plan template. There are a lot of we have a lot of additional templates which we will see along with the other learning. In the next session, we will try to understand the brainstorming and legend diagram, and further we will move on to tools. Now we have seen techniques. So what are the various tools for requirement gathering, and how do you differentiate a business requirement from that of stakeholder requirement, and how do you divide that into functional and non-functional requirement of a system? We will see all these details in the next session. Okay. I will post an assignment question today. It's going to be a practical assignment. I'm not going to ask you to define anything theoretically. I want you to write a few steps to gather requirements pertaining to HR or retail or whichever domain you are comfortable with. Supposing you are meeting your stakeholder and stakeholder point of contact. Under each of the requirement elicitation technique or requirement gathering technique, what questions will you ask or what will you do? Right? Simple ones. You can take a few of the techniques and you can write the questions or the way in which you will gather the requirements. That's going to be much more interesting than theoretically. From now on, we are moving away from theoretical questions. So it's all going to be practical. Practically, what will you do as a business analyst? That's what we're going to target. Okay. With that, we come to an end to today's session. Do you have any questions for me? I've asked you to create a Visio diagram in the assignment. Please install Visio on your system and finish the diagram at the earliest. Okay, so if there are no more questions, let's come to an end to today's session. Thank you so much for attending the session today. Let's all meet in the next session. You all have a good day. You all have a good weekend. Meet you soon. Take care. Bye.